Three, two, one.
What's going on, ISO gang? It's ISO Joe and I'm back with another video. So in today's video, I'm going to be talking about the Western Conference Finals and the Eastern Conference Finals and how I think each series is going to go. So for starters, we're going to get into the Western Conference, the game one that just happened last night on Tuesday. Same night as the draft lottery, so I don't know if anyone was tuning into that. I know I was as a Hornets fan, really hoping we could win the Wembanyama sweepstakes. Fortunately, that didn't happen. Congrats to San Antonio for landing that spot. Victor being coached under Coach Greg Popovich. I mean, this man has won 5 NBA championships. He's a Hall of Fame coach. I think it'll be a great fit for him, but secretly a little bit salty that my Hornets couldn't get him, given the troubles we've had in our past season. But this is not what this video is about. This video is about the Western Conference and Eastern Conference Finals, and so I'm about to get into that. So the Western Conference Finals between the Los Angeles Lakers and the Denver Nuggets. Game one just happened. It was a heavily contested game, pretty competitive throughout. Well, really, it became more competitive towards the end of the game because at one point the Nuggets were blowing out the Lakers, and it was just looking like the Nuggets wanted it more and that they were going to reach the NBA Finals for the first time first time ever, really. Getting to the finals will be the first time ever in my, if I understand that correctly. And Jokic was playing like an MVP, even though he didn't win it. Lost it to Joel Embiid. Jokic was playing like an MVP type player, MVP caliber player, and really the rest of his team was showing up too. I mean, you had Jamal Murray who dropped 31. You had Kentavious Caldwell-Pope who dropped 21 as well. I mean, the team really came to play, and Bruce Brown had 16, I believe. I mean, the Nuggets really came to play that game, and it showed in them getting the game one dub. But there's some things to notice in this game one. While the Lakers did lose, it was a lot closer than people realized. They were down by, I believe, like 20 plus at one point, but they were able to really narrow down that lead, that deficit to about 6 points, which is what they ended up losing by. I believe it was 132 to 126. And this really showed the Lakers fight, I'd say. In these games, they're not the typical 7 seed that you see come through the playoffs. You expect a 7 seed not even to make it this far. I mean, especially, they're not even the typical 7 seed to be a play-in team, really, to get as far as the Western Conference Finals. You got to give, Rob Pelinka props, for really making those off-season moves to grab Rui Hachimura, D'Angelo Russell, Mo Bamba, Malik Beasley, Vanderbilt. All these were just, while they may not be stars, they really helped with the Lakers' areas where there was a deficit. So defensively, Vanderbilt was a great acquisition there. And then with spacing, adding D'Angelo Russell, even though Malik Beasley hasn't done much, again, it also just added more spacing for the Lakers, and that has really been beneficial for them throughout this run in the playoffs because, I mean, they were an atrocious shooting team, and that's still one of they've gotten better with that, but they're not really, their team is not predicated around 3-point shooting. But that definitely helped their spacing, bringing in guys like D'Angelo Russell and Malik Beasley. But I mean, the Lakers, despite the loss, there were some, there was a silver lining in there. There were some highlights in the game for them. Anthony Davis really starting to play like the star center he was capable of playing, really starting to revert back to that bubble Anthony Davis when he was just unstoppable. That first year he came in with the Los Angeles Lakers. I mean, Anthony Davis was playing out of his mind. I mean, he had 40 points that game, and LeBron had 26. And I think this is a good spot for LeBron. I think if they're really going to make a true championship push, LeBron can't be the guy leading the team. Like, he can't be the number one guy at his age. I mean, he's at 38, almost 40. I mean, he really should be handing the mantle over to Anthony Davis. And this is the Anthony Davis that Los Angeles has been waiting on. Really, America's been waiting on in the playoffs. Like, the player that we all know he can be, he's really starting to realize that. And so it'll be just a fun battle to see, the battle between the centers, really, between Nikola Jokic and Anthony Davis. I mean, I really enjoyed watching them compete, and I think it's going to be a great series. And I think Darvin Ham made some good adjustments, not having Anthony Davis guard Jokic, because Anthony Davis is just entirely too slow. He's a great rim protector, obviously, but he's not a great lateral defender. And even though Jokic isn't fast per se, he is a very crafty, skilled, fundamental based player. And, that afforded him a triple double last night. He had 34 points, I believe like 16 rebounds. He had a great game, and I think it was 11 assists or something like that. But yeah, he had a great game, and I expect him to, really grow from that going into game 2. Now, you asked Darvin Ham, how are your thoughts after game 1? Do you think how do you think your team will respond to this? And he seemed unfazed. He's like, we got this. I have faith in this team. We made it further than anyone expected us to. So that just shows the faith and really confidence in each other that the team just exudes in the locker room. Like, they don't play like they're a 7th seed because they know they're better than a 7th seed. And I think that confidence has carried throughout the playoffs and is why they're here today. So, I think this will be a competitive series. I think it'll probably go 6 games. And I personally think this is Denver's year to win it all, or at least to get to the NBA Finals. I don't know if they're going to win it all this year, because I have Boston winning it all this year. But I definitely see Denver making it to the finals this year. I mean, I think Jokic is just playing out of his mind, and then Murray is healthy. They have a healthy Nuggets team, which has just been so rare for them the past few years since the bubble. I mean, they've really had to heavily rely on Nikola Jokic. And, when basketball's a team sport, so you can have an MVP. And I know Joel Embiid can certainly attest to this, as he has highlighted in prior games, especially after his loss in Game 7, that, it takes more than just one guy to win. And, Jokic probably didn't have the best performance in years past. He's really showing that he has, all the skills, all the talents, and now he has the support from his team to really get Denver over the hump. And I really hope, for Michael Malone's sake, that he's able to get his team to at least the NBA Finals, because with the current era of today, where head coaches are being fired, if they lose in a Game 7, if they get to the Eastern Conference Final, if they're even sniffing a championship, but they don't get there, I mean, it's wraps for them. So I'm hoping, just for his sake, because he's an excellent coach. I mean, he's just a phenomenal coach, and I'd hate to see, Denver lose him off of, what could be a good thing for him. Good thing for them. I really think he is the coach that's capable of, taking them to that next level. Going into this next series, the Eastern Conference Finals, are really a rematch from last year between the Miami Heat and the Boston Celtics. I'm really looking forward to this again. Jimmy Butler, again, a very unprecedented run by the Miami Heat, which I guess isn't too unprecedented, because, Jimmy Butler always manages to turn it on during the NBA playoffs. And, each year I'm like, the Heat, they're not going to make it this year. I mean, being an 8th seed, like they're just not complete enough. They don't have enough guys that can consistently support Jimmy. But every year they prove me wrong. They proved me wrong this year. I didn't expect them to even get the 8th seed. They got the 8th seed. They beat the number 1 seed in the Milwaukee Bucks. Wasn't expecting that one. And then they beat the New York Knicks. And now they're going back to the Eastern Conference Finals. And, you really have to look at the head coach, Eric Spoelstra. I know people were looking at Miami like, all right, I think it's time to move on. You're post the LeBron era. They didn't win in the bubble. The Heat have really just been mediocre. And I know there's like this culture, like, the grit culture, fighting tooth and nail in Miami, and like hard work is what's going to pay off. But, it really hasn't been very fruitful in recent years. But every year, I think Eric Spoelstra just proves to me that he is, an excellent coach. He really knows how to get the best out of his players, and really knows how to, turn on Jimmy Butler. And I know part of that is him, but like the way that he can just get Jimmy Butler to go into that second gear, especially when the playoffs rolls around, it's special to watch. But I think this will be a very competitive series with Boston and Miami. I see it going seven games like it did last year. Even when it looks like, okay, Boston should win this in like 5 or 6 games, Jimmy Butler just has a way of just flipping the script on us, because I know he's going to average at least 28 a game, and especially when the Heat's back is against the wall, that's when he really turns it on. So, I mean, I still have the Celtics winning in 7, but it will be a hard-fought series for the Boston Celtics. So, I see the Boston Celtics and the Denver Nuggets, seeing each other in the NBA Finals for 2023. But I'd love to hear your thoughts. As always, stay tuned.